What's up, Star Wars nerds, and on this edition of Hyperdrives I will be reviewing the brand new Jabba the Hutt action play set for the Vintage Collection. I just got through putting out my video for the week this morning when I got a text message from FedEx that my Jabba set would be arriving today. It came in this afternoon and I didn't want to wait a whole week to get this video out for you guys, so let's get to it. Alright, so here is the box, and first impressions, this thing looks fantastic. They're using different photographs on each side, which I love. They're not repeating the images, and there's a look at the carded figures included inside. Great little setup, very similar to what they did for the Black Series on that side. Here's some different photographs here, which look really good. And maybe my favorite image on the box is on the back side here. Really cool image, and of course they've got 8D8 and Salacious posing there, and then there's a little box here. It shows you all the parts that are included inside. But great looking box, definitely has that vintage feel, but with some modern photography added on. So let's get this bad boy open. Alright, so here's the contents tray straight out of the box. You've got this little baggie of accessories. Let's put that to the side. Then you've got Jabba himself wrapped up. Now there's a plastic tie holding him in place. You're going to have to cut that to get him out of there. That's good they did that to make sure he's nice and secure. Then let's see, we've got the little salaciouscrumb card. The thing is tiny. And there's the railing furniture. Let's set that to the side. Here is your 8D8 regular size TVC card back. And there is the dais. So that's how it's all packed in. Here is a look at everything that is inside the box. So let's take a look at the figures that come with this set. First, starting with 8D8 on a standard TVC card back. Of course, this is an original 96 figure, so classic image of 8D8 there. And there's the figure himself, looking really good. We all know the story about the elbows. They are not articulated, and that is a shame. Personally, I'm keeping this carded anyways. I did not order two sets just to get one loose. It is VC 325, and there is the description, plus the image of the exact same figure. Most of us would prefer they went back to showing us the image of the original release of the figure. So there is 8D8, and elbows aside, he does look like a good figure, and it's a great card back. Next, here is the Salaciouscrumb on a teeny tiny card back. Here he is next to a standard card back, and so just to give you an idea, it's almost like quarter the size, and it is a very slightly different image than the one they use for the original release in the SDCC Death Star 2 set. Plus it says Return of the Jedi instead of Revenge of the Jedi, so it is a true alternative card back to the original release. And there is Salacious in the bubble looking pretty good. I'm pretty sure this is a straight repack from the original SDCC release. Now I've got this Power of the Force version handy that I was planning on using, and you can see it's a world of difference with the TVC version. Alright, so let's put him aside for now and take a look at the back. The VC number is not in the top right corner, it's actually in the top left, and it's VC66A, since it is an alternative card back of the same figure. So that, to me, is an appropriate use of the A for the numbering, as opposed to other instances where I have not agreed with Hasbro's use of the A. Alright, so here's the star of the show, Jabba the Hutt himself, and he is looking pretty good. Let's look at that face sculpt. I love the eyes. Great paint job on the eyes. Now this is all hard plastic molded, it's not rubbery. I thought maybe the mouth area or something might be rubbery, but not a big deal either way. Now taking a look at the rest of the body, a lot of good detailing here. I like the scar on his tail. I actually didn't know he has a scar on his tail like that. I'll have to go back and watch the movie again. Now on the back you can see there is a slight difference in the tone of greens used for the head versus the body there, so that's a bit disappointing. And on the bottom there's this strange flat rectangular pad. I guess that's just so he doesn't wobble when he's sitting, so probably a good thing. But overall I think he's looking pretty good. So let's take a look at the articulation on Jabba. His upper body can twist all the way around from either direction. Takes a little bit of effort, but it's good enough. Next, let's take a look at his arms, which are fully articulated. There is a ball hinge joint at the shoulder. A little bit hard to see from this angle. Let's try the other arm. There you can see it a little bit better with the lighting. So he's got a full ball hinge there, and you can get plenty of rotation of his whole arm. You know, about as good as you'd expect. And at the elbow, you got another kind of ball hinge there, so it can twist and it can bend, and he can touch his face, which is good enough. There's, you can see the hinge from both sides. And then at the wrist, it's got a swivel on it, but it also has a horizontal hinge. And that's going to be real important for him to bring that hookah pipe up to his mouth. So that's great that they put that in there. So all the articulation you could possibly need for Jabba's arms. And that's going to do it for the articulation on Jabba. Of course, his tail does not articulate. That's probably a good thing because it would probably take away from the overall look of him. All right, now let's check out all of the accessories, starting with the dais. This is a fantastic looking mold, lots of details, the cracking there. I'm sure it's the same mold as the Book of Boba Fett throne room dais, just painted different. But just a great job with the detailing they did on this. And those rings are articulated, so it's a nice little touch there. And flipping over to the bottom, they actually detailed out the mechanics of the throne, complete with wheels, which do come in handy for moving your display around. I really like that Hasbro put in the effort to mold out the mechanics of the dais, and the wheels work great. All right, so let's run through the rest of the accessories. You've got 3 of these animal rugs, very similar to what you get in the Book of Boba Fett throne room. And then there's his hookah apparatus, looking pretty good. It's got this little tubing that can kind of go in the top there. And then the bottom has some paint, and it does come off, so you can put the little frog creature inside. And there's a look at his pipe. Pretty decent paint apps. Nothing too special, but not bad either. Here's a plate with some like leftover food, and then it comes with 3 cups. Definitely not on the same level as the cantina, but 3 cups is just fine. And there's the little frog creature. Now look at the detail they actually put into the mold of this thing. This really surprised me. This thing is super tiny, smaller than my thumbnail, yet it has a ton of detail on it. Looking at the pillows, these are pretty thin. It's basically 2 fabrics sewn together, maybe a thin layer of cotton in between, but very thin. I kind of wish they were a little bit thicker. Now I want to go quickly back to the hookah apparatus with the frog inside. So you can see it looks really good there, but I also wanted to mention that this pipe is super flimsy. It is as flimsy as the tubing itself. It almost feels like it's made of the same material. And then that little vent pipe or whatever that is also very flimsy. So that was a little bit disappointing. And then finally, here is the railing furniture that goes on top of the dais. And I really like this, a very good molded piece. Look at that little detail there. And the paint looks really good. This is a really good piece. I think it'll help tie everything together for this set very nicely. So here's everything placed on the dais with Jabba. You can see I can move it around smoothly with those wheels without everything falling over, so that works great. Now let's try to complete the scene by adding some figures. I showed you this power of the Force Salacious I have, but this thing is pretty bad. It has 0 articulation. I can't get him to sit. So let me grab another one. I'm going to grab the 30th anniversary C-3PO and salaciouscrumb that I have. I'm going to pop this guy open. Here's the 3PO. This is actually a pretty decent 3PO. I didn't realize the back of his head popped out like that, just like in the movie. That's a great little feature there. This is a pretty solid C-3PO. And here is Salacious looking much better than the Power of the Force. Let's grab that TVC one again just to compare it. Yeah, not nearly as good, but it's decent. It's halfway there, so it'll work for now. So let's take that 3PO back there on the dais, and there is my salaciouscrumb. Next, we gotta have Ula, right? So let me bring in my Power of the Force Ula that came with that salaciouscrumb in that 2-pack. She's a decent looking Ula, 5 POA. Wish I had the Shadows of the Dark Side version, but that is an expensive one to get. So she'll do for now. And let's also bring in that awesome TVC Bib Fortuna figure. And this looks great. Now I do have a loose TVC Slave Leia figure that will also go great, but she's currently packed away and I'm in a real rush to make this video, so I'll just have to use her another time. And now that we've seen this set on its own, let's take a look at it with the Book of Boba Fett throne room. So here is how I had my throne room set up before Jabba arrived, with a sort of what-if scenario with the ESB bounty hunters taking over. Let's get these guys out of the way and prep this thing for Return of the Jedi. As you can see, the dais slides in and out very easily. So let's pop Jabba in there. I've got the rest of the Jedi characters in the back already, so that was easy. Let's just move that droid out of the way and let's set in my Gamorrean guards, looking great. Get that Bib Fortuna figure. And let's put in Ula. And here's my 8D8. This is a Power of the Force 8D8, and he works just fine. He doesn't look bad. I don't need that TVC one out of the packaging personally. So I'm going to stick with that guy. And I decided I want to instead place Bib on the dais next to Jabba, where he can whisper into his ear. So I like that setup just a little bit better. So everything's looking really good now. So overall, I'm really happy with this set. It does have a few minor flaws, such as the pillows are a bit too thin and the hookah pipe is too flimsy. 8D8 has no elbow articulation, that sort of thing. But overall, it's still an excellent set and it goes great with the throne room. Thanks for watching.